So we're continue Be'etzim part 2. We're here to discuss Eliyahu Hanavi as it relates to the coming of Mashiach. We all know that a prominent feature of Mashiach's coming is Eliyahu Hanavi. So to get back a little bit to basics regarding that, what's the makar, where does it come from, and the Rambam in Halacha even mentions it. So if it comes from a pasuk in the Navi, in Malachi, who is the final ha'achrin shebahem, like the Rambam says. The Rebbe teaches us that Nevuah could continue to happen even after the Tkuf of the Nevi'im, but out of the Tkuf of the Nevi'im, as a set thing where Yidden used to get Nevuah, the final Navi is Malachi. And Malachi concludes his entire Nevuah, his entire Sefer, the end of Tei Asar, with the last parsha, which is 3 psukim. And over there he talks about Eliyahu Navi, he talks about the end of days, he talks about Mashiach. Because of course he's the final Navi and the final revelation. And like the first revelation is about Mashiach. We know the first time the Eibishter spoke to the first Yid was Avraham Avinu. It was Avraham Avinu by Bris Ben Absar and Be'etzim. Taisus is Masber, the famous kasha, that was he 75 or was he 70? It says 430 years. Not the kasha. And those who aren't familiar, it's okay. Point is though that it comes out that the first time the Eibishter spoke to the first Yid, he spoke to him about Mashiach. Because he spoke to him about the 10 lands. Eretz Keni, Knizi, V'Kadmaini. So over here, the final Nevuah, the final Navi, Malachi, his final Nevuah in the end is, of course, about Mashiach. And what does he say? He talks about Eliyahu Navi. And he says, Zichru Toiras Moshe Avdi, remember the Torah of Moshe, my servant, my slave, Asher Tzivisi Oisa B'Chayriv, Al Kol Yisrael Chukim Mishpatim, that I commanded him by Har Sinai, all the laws and statutes. Hine, behold, Anochi Shelech Lechem es Eliyahu Hanavi. I am sending to you Eliyahu Hanavi, Lifnei Boi Yom Hashem Hagadol V'Hanoida, before the great and awesome day of Hashem arrives. V'Heishav Leiv Aves Halbanim, V'Leiv Banim Al Avesam. He's going to return we're going to see exactly what the job of Eliyahu Hanavi is, but what the pasuk seems to say is he'll return the hearts of fathers to their children and the hearts of children to their fathers. Banim Al Avesam. Then he concludes, Pen Avei V'Hikesius at its Chedem, lest I come and I smite the earth to destruction. So the more negative way you would read the pasuk, the way you would read it up Pashut really, is that if Yidden aren't ready when the great day of Hashem comes, it could be very destructive. So you need Eliyahu Hanavi to come, and it will be trouble. So he comes, a lot of trouble, a lot of problems. So he comes to prepare that everything should be okay. But we said another interpretation, which was mamish from the Rishonim, nicht a nice achrin, who wants to say pshatim. The Ravid on the Mishnah Edius, he says what the pasuk means to say is that it's going on the whole concept. This is one parsha. These are 3 psukim. The Navi Malachi is saying, Zichru Toiras Moshe Avdi, remember the Torah and do the Torah. Because if you do the Torah, what's going to happen? Hine Anochi Shelech Lechem es Eliyahu Hanavi. Behold, I'm going to send you Eliyahu Hanavi. I'm going to send to you Mashiach. And if you guys don't get your act together and Mashiach doesn't come, Pen Avi V'Kesius Aretz Chedem, lest I come and it's a destruction. And we see Memuchash that Golus is very destructive, and unfortunately, as we talk, Nochem Mocham happening in Eretz HaKodesh with Karbonis, etc. So the Golus, we're still in Golus. So this is the Nevuah. Amen. Should be B'schus the Dida Natzach, Klal Yisrael. So, and even in Pshuti Shemikra, the concept of Eliyahu Hanavi coming before the Geula, to come herald the redemption and whatever other missions he's supposed to be accomplishing, we find it in Chumash, coming up actually in Parshas Bechukaisai, the end of Vayikra. It says over there, "V'zacharti es brisi Yaakov." I will remember my covenant with Yaakov. So it says Yaakov over there is spelled Yud Ayin Kuf Vav Beis. So it's Yaakov. That's not a usual way to spell Yaakov. So Rashi writes. Rashi says, "B'chamisha mekoymes nichtav malei." We find 5 places in Tanakh where Yaakov's name is spelled with a vav, Yaakov with a vav, and he says V'chamisha mekoymes. Eliyahu is chaser. Eliyahu Hanavi is lacking a vav in 5 places. This is Rashi, Pshuti Shemikra. So he says, Yaakov not al ois mishmoy shel Eliyahu, a raven sheyavi v'yivaser gu'ulas banav. The Yaakov took a raven, a security, a collateral from Eliyahu Hanavi to ensure that he's going to come and be mevasir geula zbanav. Pashid Rashi al Teira, Rashi and Chumash. The one of the main gemaras, there's a number of gemaras, and we're going to discuss a sugya in Eruvin where it's even relevant to halacha. Eliyahu Hanavi is coming in Eruvin Daf Mem Gimel. But one of the more Agada-based Gemara, Agadita, is in Masechta Sukkah Daf Nun Beis. And over there in Nun Beis, it talks about different things. It talks about Mashiach ben Yosef, has a long discussion about him. It says a few things about him. So over there, it quotes a pasuk from the Navi Zechariah. He says, "Vayareini Hashem arba charashim." Hashem showed me four craftsmen. Four craftsmen. Immediately before that, it talks about the four corners, the four people with horns or corners, however you translate it, referring to the four Goliaths, the four kingdoms who subjugate the Jewish people. So, and the Navi goes on to say, Zechariah, I think in Perek Beis or Gimel, he says, "Vayareini Hashem arba charashim." Hashem showed me the four craftsmen, and like Rashi says, craftsmen who know how to knock down the corners, who are going to get rid of the Golus from these four nations who are subjugating the Jewish people. Who are the four people? Zok the Gemara, Maninu, and for the Gemara, Maninu arba charashim, Reb Chana bar Bizna, Reb Shimon Chassid, Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef, Eliyahu, V'Koyen Tzedek. There's four characters essentially who are the redeemers of the Jewish people, who are here to save the day. Who are the arba charashim? These four characters: Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef, Eliyahu Hanavi, and Koyen Tzedek, which Rashi says it's referring to shame. As a matter, Malki Tzedek, shame, Koyen Tzedek. Chal that sugya, Chassidus brings it down. Maybe we'll get into it another, not in shaykhis to the Rambam, because it's more of an Agadita issue, not so much of a Rambam issue. But Chassidus brings it down, and that same sugya, very interesting. It brings the Shiva Haroyim. Chassidus brings the 7 shepherds of the Jewish people. When Mashiach comes, we're going to come, and the Shmoina Nesichei Adam, the 8 royal people. And I think Chassidus is Masber, if I remember correctly, that the Royim is more an Oifim Pnimi, like you feed, you pasture the sheep. It's a Hashpah Pnimis. And the Nesichei Adam are exalted. They stand above Makif, they stand above the Jewish people. Now, if you look at the names over there, you wouldn't suspect that it would be the names that you would expect. For example, in the Shmein and Nesichei Adam, who are the Shmein and Nesichei Adam? So 2 of them, Baruch Hashem, Mashiach and Eliyahu Hanavi made it on the list. But then you have Tzvanya, Amos, Yishai, Shaul, Mamish, names you Pasha wouldn't expect. That these are going to be the Shmein and Nesichei Adam. And like Marsha explains, that the main Tzrada, the main one in charge of the Yidden is going to be Mashiach. But his secondary people who are under Mashiach, their Tzrada, the rest of the Nesichei Adam, these are these people. So who here knew that Amos and Tzvanya, Pasha, it seems random. Avram Avinu? So what? You're talking about Avram Avinu? Oh, Amram.
Shaul's gonna be okay.
Shaul was there. I don't believe Amram was in that list. No, I don't believe so. Chizkiyahu is in the list. Chizkiyahu Hamelech. In the Shiva Rayim, Taka, you have names more familiar. We have Avraham, Yaakov, and David makes it in the Shiva Rayim. But very interesting. 3 of the Shiva Rayim are Adam, Sheis, and Misushelach. Okay. Very interesting. A Gemara Mefureshes, Masechta Sukkah Daf Nun Beis, and Chassidus brings it down. The Shivarayim, the Shmet. It never says who it is, who they are. It just talks about the concept. You can already imagine the concept of 7 and 8 is already an Inyan, because 8 is higher than nature, because the nature only has 7 days. But Akapanim, this is the Gemara. There's Arba Charashim. Eliyahu Hanavi is a huge part of the story. He's also one of the Shmein and Nesichei Adam, like we just mentioned. In fact, in benching every day, what do we say? Harachamanu yishlach lanu es Eliyahu Hanavi zocher la'teiv v'yivasser lanu b'seiris teivis yeshuos v'nachamis. And it's even Araga Brach in Shulchan Aruch, which we know, of course, Shulchan Aruch has a special taikiv, a special power. Shulchan Aruch is Shulchan Aruch, the code of Jewish law, in a few places, a number of places. But most recently, we're coming from Pesach. Today's Rish Chedesh Iyar. We're coming from Pesach, and in Hilchos Pesach, right? It talks in Siman Tov Pesach. The Alter Rebbe writes that Bektsas Mekemis, they're noyig that we don't lock the doors when we go to sleep on the Leil Pesach. Why? Because it's Leil Shimurim. What does that mean? It's a day which is set aside that Hashem is going to take us out of Golus. In other words, we have a concept that we're going to be redeemed in the Chodesh Nisan. Of course, now that Nisan passed, Kanida, we're going to be redeemed in the Chodesh Iyar. Ani Hashem Reifecha, it's Eichad HaGud month. But there's a special time of Nisan where Yidden are supposed to be redeemed, and within Nisan itself, it says, Shulchan Aruch brings down, Lil Shimurim, that we're supposed to be redeemed, Mamash that night, the Leil HaSeder. And it says, since Mashiach's coming that night, V'im Yavi Eliyahu, this is the words of the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch, V'im Yavi Eliyahu, and if Eliyahu Hanavi rocks up, he shows up, Yimtza Pesach Pesuach, he should find an open door. If you have a locked door, he has to start knocking. You open it up, you close it. The door should already be open. Why should you take up that time? V'neitzei l'krasi b'meheda. We'll go out to him b'meheda zakt Alter Rebbe, and he writes v'anu ma'minim b'zeh. Very interesting. He throws out there, we believe in this. He says v'yesh be'emunah zu schar gadol, whatever that means. And he says whoever has this emunah, there's a tremendous reward for having the emunah. Okay. So this is the role of Mashiach. In a moment, we're going to get to the Rambam, because the Rambam's halacha more than anything else. We legambe the identity of Eliyahu. It's kedai to upstellen for a second. In connection to a Gemara that we mentioned last time we were speaking. We mentioned the Gemara that Abba Bar Avua met Eliyahu Hanavi in a Beis HaKvaris. He told him, "Yidacha Koyin, how are you in the Beis HaKvaris?" First, they had a discussion about a halacha over there, and this is in Bava Metzia. And he says, how could you be in a Beis HaKvaris? So he told him that it's a Goyish Beis HaKvaris, and the halacha is that Goyim are not mitame ba'il. Umela, their tumah doesn't shoot up from the earth, only if you touch their bodies. Umela, allowed to be there. And we ended up discussing a Taisus there, Taisus Frektakasha, that how could Eliyahu Hanavi be mitame with the dead child, with the Almana, the story in Tanakh. Someone asked me after the shir that didn't the Maisa happen with Elisha Hanavi? Elisha. But the truth is, if you look in Tanakh, there's such a Maisa happens to Eliyahu Hanavi also. When it says B'chal B'neget Elisha that Pishnayim Beruche, that he has double from what Eliyahu Hanavi had, they gave him a bracha. And the Tanakh, the Malachim, it goes to his 16 moifsim, his 16 miracles. But Eliyahu Hanavi had 8 moifsim. That's why it means Pishnayim Beruche. Stam, we have the same lashon when you get to the Magid, right? That the Magid had Pishnayim Beruche, that he had 120 Talmid, and the Baal Shem Tov had 60 Talmid. He got a bracha from the Baal Shem Tov Pishnayim. But the vert is, so over there it's a Maisa, a ganze Maisa. Isha Hatzarfosis, I think. She was a Psalmona, and it was he was running away from Achov, and Kitzra Maisa. He laid himself out on the dead child for 3 times. So Taisa's answer was, and they brought the kid back to life. Taisa's answer, how could Eliyahu Hanavi, if he's a kohen, how is he able to be matame? His answer L'maisa was pikuach nefesh, that if he knows he has the power to do tchis hamesim, so that's pikuach nefesh, and he's able to do it, which is Inyan was tzarich bitter a little bit, needs explanation, but that's what he ended up saying. But in any event, Rashi over there says that how do we know he's a kohen? Rashi says because ikal man Amar Eliyahu Pinchas. Rashi says because Eliyahu Pinchas, ikal man Amar. So therefore, we know it as a pashtus, but Rashi is bringing it down. Says what's up? He's a kohen. So he says because there's the Chaman Amar somewhere who says Eliyahu Pinchas, because both of them say Kani Kinos. Both of them were Kanoim. So Epsazam and Gzeda Shav, Kani Kinos. So that's the shaila though. Ba'atzim, it's also an interesting thing to contemplate and to think about. Is Eliyahu Hanavi Take Pinchas? Are they Take the same person? Same in the Shama? What do you think? Pasha the same person? Kipshute? Pinchas lived for hundreds of years, and then there's Gevarin, and he was Eliyahu Hanavi. So the marker for the ganze Maisa is a Yalkut Shemini, is in the Medrash in the beginning of Parshas Pinchas, where it says Amar Reb Shimon ben Lakish Pinchas hu Eliyahu. And what did the Eibusha tell him? Amar le'akadosh baruch hu, Ato nasata shalom bein Yisrael u'beini. B'elam haza, you made shalom, right? We know that he came and he stopped the calamity that was happening to the Jewish people. So Hashem said, you made shalom between me and the world. Af la'asad lavei, Ato hu sha'asad litin shalom beini levein banai. In the future as well, you're going to be the one who's going to make shalom between me and my children. Shenamar hine anochi shalech lechem es Eliyahu Hanavi lefnei bayem Hashem. Ve'ishav levavis halbanim. That's the medrash. This is the makar ba'atzim. There's a few zayars also, but this is the main makar for the vart of Pinchas Eliyahu. And the Rebbe is also mitzayin always to a Targum Yenis and Menuziel in Parshas Ve'eda, where it says the years of Kahas. So it says it was 130 years, and zok the Targum Azay. Ushnei chayoy de kahas chasida meyu slasin uslashnin 133 years. Chaya, he lived ad the chama yas Pinchas hu Eliyahu. He lived until he was zeicha, until he saw Pinchas hu Eliyahu. Kahana Rabba, the great Kohen, like the Kohen Gadol, the Asid Limishtalcha Legalusa the Yisrael B'Seif Yemaya, the one who is going to be sent to the Jewish people in the end of days in Galus. So the Vart Hazai, without this is Mamash Hanigeh about him, but it's kedai to know and it's interesting to note because Eliyahu is going to show up. Is it Pinchas? Is it Das? The reality is that it seems that many Rishonim learned Kipshutei. In other words, that Pinchas Kipshutei lived for hundreds and hundreds of years, and he was Eliyahu Hanavi, and then he went up L'mayla and he Pasha never passed away. Right? So L'dugma, there's a famous Gemara in Bava Basra, Chuf Chaf Aleph, where the Gemara talks about how seven people covered the entire history of the world. 7 people. Adam, and then Mesushalach, and then Shem, and Yaakov, and Amram, and Yaakov, Achia Shiloini, who saw Eliyahu Hanavi, right? So the side Tosis inside the Rashbam talk, Halach you have to say that this Shitta doesn't hold of the Vart of Pinchas Eliyahu, because otherwise the Cheshbon changes. Tosis says you could have it in less than 7 generations, because Pinchas is less than 7 generations, and as Elchet, the Rashbam has a different oifen, but the point is they both say that Vart. However, the Rebbe brings in a number of siches, already starting in Chelik Beis, you could see it, and I'm guessing the Rebbe didn't start it, I'm saying it's a Vart already, Be'etzim. So the Vart is, the Rebbe brings from a Zohar HaKadosh. In fact, many Zohars actually don't have the Girsa. The Rebbe's Mitzayim, within Zohar, there's a sefer called Derech Emes, which is like Hagoyis to Zohar, and it gives Nuschois, Shoynes, different Nuschois. He's an Oisgehaltene mensch, from a few hundred years ago, that Amaz, one of the greatest Mikubalim, worked on, helped, finished off the Sefer himself, and the Mikdash Melech brings him down. So he has a Girsa in a Zohar that the Rebbe brings, where on the pasuk, Mamash in the beginning of Bereshis, it says, "V'oif yoifif al haaretz." To talk about the 5th day of creation, what Hashem created. That He created the birds over the land. So oif is Machal, yoif is Gabriel. They already had this midrashim which already say this. And then it says, what's it mean al haaretz? Zok there, the gears, the words of the Derech Emes. So he says al haaretz do Eliyahu. Eliyahu Hanavi was already existed and was created on the 5th day of creation. Kilu. Zohar says the ishtakach tadir ba'ara is always found v'loy misitra da'aveim, and he exists even without a father and mother, and he flies in the world, whatever the Zohar goes on to say. The Rebbe brings down in Parshas Pinchas Chelik Beis, the Rebbe says that the Rebbe's masber over there. That's why we don't say Eliyahu. We don't say Eliyahu Zeh Pinchas. We say Pinchas Zeh Eliyahu. It's a Pella who lived later. Eliyahu Hanavi. So what should you say? You should say Eliyahu is really Pinchas. What do we say? Pinchas is Eliyahu. What's for Amaisa? So it's taka very interesting, by the way, because the Rishonim that I quoted to you before, they taka all right Pinchas Eliyahu, not the Girsa that we always say. They always say Eliyahu is that Pinchas. I'm sorry. You taka see the lashon. They taka right that. The Rashbam, the Eliyahu is that Pinchas. The Tosfos, the Eliyahu lo have a Pinchas. Right, Eliyahu Pinchas. Versus the Girsa that we always quote in Chassidus everywhere is Eliyahu is a Pinchas. I'm sorry, Pinchas Eliyahu. I keep getting confused. Which is a different verse. The Rebbe says why? Because Eliyahu Hanavi existed before Pinchas. Eliyahu Hanavi exists already. He's a Mitzias Davar. And but then it sounds like when Eliyahu Hanavi existed, Begashmias, this Neshamer, this Mitzias was mislabish in him, and they became Eliyahu ended up, but Eliyahu Hanavi existed before Pinchas. The Rebbe has a famous, it's a Seich Pasha Chelik Beis, Parshas Pinchas. The Rebbe speaks how if you're mekanik in Hashem, if you take the action into your own hand, you go on Mesiras Nefesh, it could be that a nitzitz is going to be mislabish in you. So Pinchas, Zeh Eliyahu, that where did he get the koyach from to stand up against the entire Jewish people? Because since he had the Mesiras Nefesh, Eliyahu went into him. And the Rebbe Mamash repeats this vart even later in the Nesir. There's a Sikha in Parshas Bolog Tavshin Nun. The Rebbe says the same exact vart. But the Kaneda over there, it's more of an Inyaduchni. But it's but Rashi, very interesting. The Rashi that I quoted to you before. Rashi says, how do I know that Eliyahu Hanavi is a kohen? Because he says the Iklam the Amar the Eliyahu Pinchas. By the way, he also writes the Lashon Eliyahu Pinchas. That he says Iklam the Amar. But Yesh Loimar, by the way, that even if it's referring to the Neshama, still Begashmis Eliyahu Hanavi was a kohen. It's the famous word of the Rebbe in Tanya. It says in Tanya, it brings what it says in Kisvei Arizal, that when Mashiach comes, the Levim are going to be Kehanim, and the Kehanim are going to be Leviim. Right? Famous word. It's a massive Indian Kabbalah in Chassidus. There's in Bible criticism, which no one should know from such things. A lot of Nadishkeiten. But one of the massive things they have is that in Dvarim, it always refers to it never refers to Kohanim really as Kohanim. It always refers to them as Levium. Right? So, how you talking? But the word is, Stam Shaitim and Amaratzim, and like everything else, they don't know basic Judaism. Basically, according to Kabbalah, it's a massive Indian according to Kabbalah, that the Levium, L'Asad Lavai, are going to be the Kohanim, and the Kohanim are going to be the Levium. Right? It's a switch. There's going to be a massive switch. But the Rebbe discusses, what about Nitzchis HaTeirah? Famous kasha. How could you say that the Levium are going to be Kohanim, Kohanim are going to be Levium? And the Rebbe's answer ultimately is that it refers to the Neshama. Begashmi is, either you come from Aaron HaKoyin or you don't. Right? But the Neshama, what you're going to get is the Neshama of a Levi. Right? Because the Neshama of a Levi and the Neshama of a Koyin are different Neshamas. Right? But l'chayre bas kommt is that it doesn't matter if Pinchas and Eliyahu just have the same neshama or not. If they have the same neshama, that means Eliyahu begashmi is mozeichad hakoyin. Right? Medafnish zogin that begashmi was physically Pinchas in order to argue that he was a koyin, even if he wasn't physically Pinchas. If he and Pinchas had the same neshama, that neshama only comes down into a koyin. Fine. Yeah? Moving right along. Now, what we really have to be masber within this sugya, and we're not going to have time today, kanida, is the sugya in Eidavin, where it really discusses the ganze Shaila, when exactly does Eliyahu Hanavi have to come, a day before, and it's basically the sugya over there surrounds the Shaila. If someone says, I'm going to be a Nazir the day Mashiach comes, so the Gemara discusses Eliyahu Hanavi, did he come yet, and so on and so forth. So that's a sugya that we're going to have to discuss, and also we're going to have to discuss is the task of Mashiach, of Eliyahu Hanavi. What's Eliyahu Hanavi here to do, B'chlal? And that's a whole Mishnah and the end of Masechta Eidavin, 4 shittas of Tanoim. The Rebbe has siyumim on it, and moedik gezachen. So these are inyanim that we have to discuss. Okay, so the shaila is 5 more minutes. Okay, let's see what we could pull together over here. Okay, so let's just say one vart because l'maisa we don't have time. There's a medrash. Okay, let's discuss this for a second. So the Rambam doesn't mention Mashiach ben Yosef. We're going to see in a second when we finally get to the Rambam. We're going to see that he discusses Melchemes Gog Magog. He discusses Eliyahu Hanavi. Why did he discuss Mashiach ben Yosef? The Chaver in the Gemara, Midrash Chazal, Mali Begadish, whatever. Lamaisa, we're going to see that the Rambam here is not here to tell you Midrashim, not here to tell you Pshatim. Lamaisa, the Rambam ends up saying, Lagabi, things in Perek Yud Beis. In Yud Aleph, the Rambam paskin everything in a way of a Psak Din. He knows better exactly what's going to happen. Don't argue with the Rambam about Perek Yud Aleph. Don't tell me that the state of Israel is Mashiach. The Rambam wants none of it. Right? Perek Yud Aleph is clear, Psak Din Barer. The Perek Yud Beis is where the Rambam starts saying Kol Elu Hadvarim. No one knows how it's going to be. So what are you writing? If no one knows how it's going to be, what schreibst du? So the truth is, though, because it's negeh for him really to bavarim. If you look very closely at what he's doing, he's going through all the different aspects of the redemption of the Geula and explaining to you what it means, be'etzim. For example, the first halach he began, I state v'gor ze'evim kaves, the sheep will lie with the lamb, v'gdi v'arye, right, Arye Kabakar Yechal Teven. I was thinking of a thing, something in Gedi Yerbuts, whatever. Yeah, V'namer in Gedi Yerbuts. A leopard will lie with the kid, with the young goat. But so he has to be mazba what it means. He says it means the goyim are going to live. That a huge part of the geula is the menuchas hanefesh. Right? Otherwise, you don't have shleimus v'ateidah mitzvah. If you have to worry about parnos, you have to worry about life, you have to worry about tzadis, you have to worry, then you're not living the dream. This is not Yiddishkeit. Yiddishkeit is 100%. It's a full relationship. Every fiber you're being every bone in your body, and there's no time for other things. That's why. So it's critical for Mashiach. Fine. See, Bavarin's that. And over here, why does he have to Bavarin about the things that he chose, Eliyahu Hanavi and Melchemes Gog Magog? Because those aren't Midrashi Chazal. These are psukim ufrashim, massive nevuos. We went through some of them in Yecheskel and Zechariah and in Yoel and in Daniel about Melchemes Gog Magog. And here we were just reading and talking today about the nevuah of Malachi. Nevuah mufrashis. Hinei anochi shelech lechem. So he has to discuss it, and he says different ifanim, and he says, but you know what? No one knows how it's going to be until it will be. Furthermore, as we'll get into, when he talks about Eliyahu Hanavi, he mentions that Eliyahu Hanavi einay ba ella lasam shalim ba'olam. In other words, Eliyahu Hanavi is not here to make miracles and wonders and do crazy things, because that's not what Mashiach is. Mashiach is about Torah mitzvahs and shalom. So he says Eliyahu Hanavi is only coming to bring shalom to the world, and so on and so forth. So this is a reason why he doesn't bring up Mashiach ben Yosef, but just to mention an exciting medrash about Mashiach ben Yosef. And I remember the first time I saw the medrash, I saw it at the Satmarav as a sefer, Vayel Meisha. Interesting sefer. But over here, so he goes to town with this medrash. He decides basically this is how Mashiach's going to come. Right? You can make a fallacy both ways. I don't want to call Grey Sayyid, but I don't want to call it a fallacy. But the vart is that the Rebbe's derech is the best derech b'chlal in life. That halacha should always be your guiding path. The only thing you should care about is halacha. The Rebbe went with the halacha wherever it took him. I don't know if there's any other gadol in the world, any other person in the world like the Rebbe who Pasha went to town with halacha ad asaf. And wherever it took him, it didn't care. The Rebbe, when the Rebbe spoke about Shleimus Haaretz, about not giving away land, the Rebbe says that even if it's going to go against Hafatza Mayanis Chutza and it ruins all the projects of Lubavitch, the Rebbe said Zachiv Deiraisa to go fight for it because Pekuach Nefesh Deicha Kalatera Kula, so it's Deicha Hafatza Mayanis Chutza. Right? That's the Rebbe has this in Sikha. What's the Rebbe saying? Because the Rebbe, things aren't about it's not, life is not, by the Rebbe everything was halacha. The Rebbe was mambish, like halacha is atzmus. So l'maisa, so that works both ways. You have to follow the Rambam, you have to follow it in halacha, like Abba Mashiach. So a medrash, lav dafka is that halacha. The Rambam's halacha, but akopanim. But what's like the medrash? The medrash talks about, it says in Psikta Zutrasa, it talks about how the Yidden are going to be mekubatz in Begala, they're going to be in northern Israel and Gol, and Mashiach ben Yosef is going to be in his Gal, and they're going to go up with him to Yerushalayim, and he is going to build the Beis Hamikdash. And they're going to be Makriv Karbonis, and there's even a Eish going to be Yored Ben Hashamayim. Wonderful, right? Mashiach ben Yosef is here. And then, Behu Meichitz Kol HaKnanim. He's going to be Meichitz, going to fight and destroy the Knanim, meaning the inhabitants of the Goyish inhabitants in Eretz Yisrael. And then he says, V'achrei Kol Zois Gog Umagid comes. And he comes and he's going to kill Mashiach ben Yosef V'chutzis Yerushalayim, says the Medrash. V'Yisrael royim kach v'oimnim abad Mashiach mimenu. We lost Mashiach. We lost Mashiach. V'lo yoshem Mashiach achar. No other Mashiach is coming for us. And the Eibush is going to fight for them, and the Eibush is going to come down, and the Yidden are going to be running away from everything. And the Yidden are going to go to Midbrei Agomais, to deserts, of swamps, and so on, for 45 days, and they're going to be surrounded by Anani HaKovid. And the Yidden over there are going to be hidden. And whoever has a hitter ra against Hashem, a bad thought, will be expelled by the clouds and will be killed by the Knanim. And at the end of the 45 days, a Baska will come out and tell the Yidden all to go to Bavel. And they're going to go to Bavel. And you could, by the way, you could already see why the Satmarav is bringing this down. He's trying to say that Israel, this natural, the Zionist, there's nothing to do with Mashiach, which is a very richtig point. The Rebbe has the same point. That without Mashiach, let's they stack up. You're getting together, you're building houses. That's not Mashiach. Mashiach is Torah, Mitzvahs, Eibishter, Rebbe, Mashiach. So the Satmarav's vart is richtig. But upon him, this is the Medrash. So and it says they're going to go to Bavel. They're going to Bavel to do what we read in the Haftarah and Achan Shal Pesach, to go through, like Kriyas Yamsuf. We're going to go through Nahar Pras, it says. The Yidden are going to Bavel. We're crossing the Nahar Pras into 7 streams precisely. And it says they're going to have a second Baska, which is telling them to go to Edom. Asur lahem nikmasi, take my revenge against Edom. So they're going to go to the city of Rami or something, and we're going to do like Yeshua did. We're going to, like he did with Yerichai, we're going to surround the city and blow shofars. And at the 7th time that we blow the shofar, we're all going to scream together Shema Yisrael, and the walls are going to come down. And then it says Yisrael mevakshin es Elikeya and ves David Malcolm. They're going to ask and demand for their God and for Mashiach. Umiyad nigla le melech HaMashiach. Mashiach then is going to be nizgala to them. And it says, and here's very kedai, because even if all of this doesn't happen begashmius exactly this way, we have no reason to assume that this is not what Mashiach is going to say when he's in this gala. Here we have a medrash. People ask, what's the first words going to be out of Mashiach's mouth? What's coming Shin Zagen? You know, everyone's excited and we're dancing, and Mashiach finally came. But the crowd settles down for a moment. Vazak Mashiach, what's there to say? So over here it says that when Mashiach is in this gala, the first words he tells them, he says, Ani hu melech HaMashiach shehayisim mechakim. I am the melech HaMashiach for which you were waiting.
Sorry, I'm late.
Maybe it's a sorry I'm late. I don't know. Ani hu melech HaMashiach shehayisim mechakim. It's tight to know those words. This is Psikta Zudrasa, the Psikta. You heard of Psikta Rabasi. It's a real medrash. and concludes the Medrash, and it goes through every baskel. Another thing happens. The fourth baskel and the 10th baskel is Tchias HaMeisim, and then V'oz Yiskabtzu HaGolius. So the whole Seder is different than the Rambam, because over here it begins with Binya Beis HaMikdash, with Mashiach ben Yosef, then it has Goig u'Magog, then it has Tchias HaMeisim, and then Kibbutz Golius, right? Even though Taka Kibbutz Golius is the last thing in the Rambam, actually, after Binya Beis HaMikdash. However, of course, Mashiach ben David is before Binya Beis HaMikdash, and Goig u'Magog is before Binya Beis HaMikdash, and we're going to get into exactly the Rambam Shitta in another time, and hopefully at that time we'll already have experienced it personally. Chaim Lev Racha, Mashiach now.